Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask questions of some of the other nominees before us that I don't think I've had a chance to take and respond to questions. And obviously, there's two Californians that I'm proud of that are before us. My first question is for Judge Thompson. Judge Thompson, you've had a trailblazing judicial career which started nearly 20 years ago, with you becoming the first Black woman to win election to serve as a Superior Court judge in Alameda County. Since then, you've ruled on thousands of matters and presided over more than 150 trials. Your experience as a judge is deep, and your commitment to fairness and the rule of law is evident from your record. Just like for you to share with the committee, over the course of the 20 years as judge, I'm sure you've drawn inspiration from, have been encouraged by some of your fellow jurists. Can you talk about some of the best qualities of judges that you've tried to emulate, and more broadly, maybe who's maybe served as a role model or who you've been inspired by?
Thank you, Senator Padilla. It is difficult to name those who have had the most impact, but those who I had direct mentoring from showed me a pathway to judicial restraint, to temperament, and to kindness and compassion. And that was Judge Joan Cartwright, Judge Martin Jenkins, and also Judge Clint White and Thelton Henderson. They are trailblazers in and of themselves. They have come to their jobs and always shown a great deal of compassion to the people that they serve. They serve with a firm hand, but they understand also their commitment to their community. They remain accessible and they remain humble. That robe does not overtake who they are as an individual. They are still seen in their community. A judge who particularly touched me was District Court Judge Myron Thompson. He sits in the federal court in Alabama. I had the pleasure of meeting him, and I was amazed at the amount of time he took with me to share our history, to walk me through his own career, the fact that he had polio and he never let that in any way slow him down, and the fact that he lived at a time where a lot of the options that are available to me were not available to a lot of people. That courage was amazing to me. And the fact that he was still so humble, so approachable, and a student of the law and has not stopped. So those are the people that I admire the most.
Thank you. Same question for Judge Garnett. You've had a tremendous amount of experience both at the state and at the federal level. Any lessons learned or characteristics of other judges that you choose to emulate?
Thank you, Senator Padilla. I talked a little bit about this in my introduction, but I had the privilege of clerking for Judge Barry Ted Moskowitz in the Southern District for a period of a year, and we worked on federal cases. And I was able to work closely with him. I observed how he treated the litigants who appeared before him. He was patient and he would listen to their arguments and make sure that they felt that they were heard. He was incredibly intelligent, or he is incredibly intelligent, and understands the issues that are presented. He mentored and nurtured his law clerks and made us part of the process. And he diligently researched the law and applied it fairly and impartially. He has a wonderful sense of humor and a wonderful temperament. In each day that I spend on the bench, I try to emulate the wonderful qualities that he has. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much. Final question again for Judge Thompson. You were appointed by Alameda Superior Court judges to serve as a juvenile court commissioner in the Dependency and Delinquency Court. Can you just briefly describe some of the work and any lessons learned in the area of juvenile justice?
Thank you, Senator Padilla, for that question. My role in the juvenile court as a commissioner and then later as the presiding judge of the juvenile court was the most amazing experience I had. It was my chance to serve my community in a totally different way and to be able to help shape my next door neighbor. I was able to provide resources to students, mentor young people who had been abused, neglected, or exploited, and to provide them with services that they may not have had otherwise. Having been in foster care myself, I was able to meet each of them where they were. I was able to see what a lot of people couldn't see in terms of the challenges that they may have and the resources that were no longer available to them because they were separated from their family for whatever reason. And when I had the pleasure of working for the coordinating council and meeting Judge Gordon Martin, and he brought me under his tutelage to talk about the significance that a judicial officer can have on a young person's life, particularly those who don't have access to professionals and to judges, but just to be present and to be able to meet them from a positive position as opposed to a negative, and to pull that out of them. And from that, a documentary, which you may have in the red, where we were able to take young people from the juvenile court who we saw something in them. They became emergency medical service providers. Some are firefighters and others are paramedics, because I could see that they actually did have compassion and they did want to give back to their community. They just didn't know how.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.